When you think of horses in Indiana, these are the images that probably come to mind. But 13 Investigates has captured different images. Images that show what really happens to thousands of Indiana horses and how those horses go from here to here in just a matter of days. This is the Shipshewana Auction Barn in northern Indiana. Every Friday morning, horses are bought and sold here from all over the state. Workhorses, racehorses, former pets that are no longer wanted. Many of these horses will soon be dead because they're being purchased by that man. He's known as a kill buyer, and most of the horses are going to him. After the sale, they're rounded up in a large pen to wait. And outside the auction, we wait too. 36 hours later, under the cover of darkness, the horses are loaded onto a truck. That truck pulls out of Shipshewana at midnight, and a long journey begins. We follow the truck all night as it passes through small towns and through big cities. By sunrise, it arrives at this farm in eastern Michigan, where the horses are unloaded and sorted. Eventually, the horses from Indiana head back to the highway. This time, the truck is taking them to Canada. Once the horses cross the border, it's another 10-hour journey here to Mossaville, Quebec. This is Richelieu Meats, one of the largest horse slaughterhouses in all of North America. The company will not allow our cameras inside, and you're about to see why. We watched horse after horse being unloaded at the slaughterhouse. Hundreds of horses shipped in by the truckload 24 hours a day. Employees told us not to videotape anything.
Légal.
No, close.
But 13 Investigates has obtained video showing exactly what happens here, even on the inside. And it's very graphic. This undercover video comes from the Canadian Horse Defense Coalition. It was shot this year, and it shows how Indiana horses are killed inside the Richelieu slaughterhouse. One by one, horses are loaded into a metal pen called a kill box. That worker then gets a bullet and loads it into a .22 caliber rifle. Moments later, the horse is dead. This diagram from the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, it illustrates the proper angle at which a single gunshot to the brain will quickly kill a horse. The problem is, at Richelieu, it often doesn't happen that way. This video shows many horses are shot in the face at awkward angles. And poor aim means some horses must be shot multiple times. This horse has already been shot twice. It will take a third bullet before it's dead and sent to processing.
Just complete chaos and brutality. The suffering is really unimaginable.
Twyla Francois helped expose conditions at the Richelieu slaughterhouse. For years, she's been pressuring the Canadian government for better oversight and more humane treatment of horses sent to slaughter. And she says this video shows why.
A number of horses were shot in one eye, then the other eye. They're flailing around. When they're scared of something, they bolt, which simply doesn't allow for an efficient, humane slaughter in an assembly line fashion.
Horses are not commercially slaughtered in the United States, at least not right now. American slaughterhouses closed a few years ago after Congress pulled funding for federal inspections. Now, 100,000 American horses are shipped each year to be slaughtered in Canada and Mexico, and many of those come from right here in Indiana. Horses bought at auction in Noblesville, Rushville, and Shipshewana are part of a multi-million-dollar horse meat industry. These horses will likely end up on a dinner plate somewhere in France, Belgium, Japan, or Eastern Canada, where the meat is very popular. 13 Investigates found horse meat for sale at grocery stores in Montreal, and at restaurants in Ontario and Quebec, it's right on the menu.
Horses are livestock. They're not pets, you know. They've got cute little faces, but that's as far as it goes.
Martin Couprie is a world-renowned chef at Pangea Restaurant in Toronto, and he's a big fan of horse.
It's a beautiful meat. It's succulent, it's sweet, it's rich, it's fine textured. I served it to thousands of people. And these are GMO-free raised pigs.
But nowadays, Couprie is not cooking horse meat at all. He removed it from the menu because slaughterhouses cannot tell him where the horses come from and whether the meat is free of toxic medications.
The horse industry has to regulate itself first, and they don't want to do that. So we're left with a system that is providing horse meat for the consumer that has no grading system behind it.
Concerns over the horse meat industry and its treatment of horses triggered protests across Canada just a few weeks ago. And in the U.S., Congress is now considering a ban on the export of American horses for slaughter.
Suffering shouldn't be part of the end of life for an animal.
Professor Mark Russell is a horse management expert at Purdue University. He says improperly slaughtering horses is troubling, but he says banning slaughter altogether could cause even more misery for thousands of horses.
Right now we have this huge oversupply of horses. We have a lot of horses being neglected now. People are turning them loose. People are not able to feed them. We don't know where to send them.
It's why so many horses end up here and eventually make their way there through a 1,000-mile pipeline that begins here in Indiana. Everything you've just seen is perfectly legal. Congressman Dan Burton of Indiana wants to change that. He's the lead co-sponsor of a bill that would make it illegal to transport American horses to other countries for slaughter. That bill faces stiff opposition from farmers. There's so much more to this story. To see that and to see how you can get involved, check out our website at WTHR.com. I'm Bob Siegel, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.